Let me tell you who I am.
So stupid.
Hi, I'm Brent Peeples, and this is my wife, Brittany. And we are the owners of a faith-based apparel brand called Found One Apparel. The start of building the business was, I don't know, it just kind of happened, I think. I was really searching for faith-based apparel that fit our style, and we couldn't find it. So we decided to make it. I had worked in comics for 15 years. I've worked for Marvel, I've worked for DC, I've drawn some of the biggest characters, and that's what I did, and that was my love. And I love comics, and I love drawing, but I think it was the passion has shifted to this. And so now I'm finding ways to express myself in art through the clothes. But I think what makes us different is we are really stepping into what we like to call attainable luxury. Mm-hmm. So a little bit higher end, better fabrics, better silhouettes, better fit. Quality is probably number one over everything else. If it's gonna fall apart after 2 or 3 or 4 washes, we're not gonna put it out. Because I wear all of our things, and I see this thing cracking and going, oh man, I can't produce this and send this out, because if it cracks on me, it's going to crack on somebody else. So we don't do it. If the quality's not there, we don't do it. The name of Found One was really easy. That was a no-brainer. Like I said, we had both wandered quite far. I had gone very far away from, I always knew I was a Christian. I knew that I was saved. I knew I was going to heaven, but I did not want to go to church. I did not want to read the Bible. I didn't want to listen to worship music. It was on the sideline for me. When God finally brought me back to Him, and that's the only way that I can say it, is I started feeling tugs, and I knew what it was, and I knew the heart was softening, and I started asking questions again. And I felt Him bringing me back to Him. We had finally started looking for churches again. And we had gone to a church, and that sermon was about the shepherd leaving the 99 to find the one sheep. And it's the same thing you've heard if you've been in church all your life. You've heard it all your life. But immediately it hit different, because that's exactly how I felt.
We were in this service, and we got to that point from a really cool story too, but we were in this service, and when they started talking about the 99, again, we both heard it our whole lives. Oh, I know this one, you know? But God's cool like that, because He's like, but this time I'm going to tell it to you a little different. Because He was standing, we were beside each other, but He was a little bit forward of me standing. And when He turned around, and I don't remember what part of the story that was going down, but He turned around and His eyes were just welled up in tears. And I knew, without Him saying a word, what it was related to. The biggest, most almost tangible way I think I've ever seen God is the way I have watched Him chase Him. Period. I'm not gonna cry. Stop. But it's serious. Like I even looked at Him and I was like, it's like you're God's favorite. So we were in church at this time, and He turned around and His eyes are welled up. I knew that it was done. He didn't even have to say the words "Found One." I knew that that's what it was. I knew that that's what He had been trying to piece together of His life period. And then this idea of the clothing, it's like it all came to a culmination.
For us, it's not only wanting to reach the people that are believers already, but we want to be able to design it in a way that it still gets the message across. It still delivers what we need to deliver. So that way people who are wearing it really do have a good opportunity to discuss what the idea of the shirt is, or the hoodie or whatever. I was having a meeting with a manufacturer, one day, and we were going over the brand, and he told me, he said, I'm not real sure what I believe. Maybe there's something out there, maybe there's not. He goes, but looking at your stuff, he goes, I would wear it. And so that for me means a lot, because that for us is planting the seed for.
I mean, it turned into a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah,
about
it turned
faith.
into a
That's pretty cool.
2-hour conversation about faith, and that's planting the seed, and that's the point. This brand's already been useful for God to use without anybody even having to buy a shirt.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've had the opportunity to go speak to kids because of the brand. I didn't ask them to buy anything. It wasn't about that. But because I own the brand and I was involved with this other thing, I was able to go speak to these kids. So if, yes, it's about clothing, but also where else God can take it. If that means opening up doors for me to do podcasts and tell my story, or our story, or her story, because she's got a story in her own right. So it's like, where can he use us outside of fashion? So that's one aspect of it, but where else can it go? And how can this really be? People say community all the time. Oh, it's community.
But real.
But how can it really be that? I want to be able to meet our clientele. I want to, if we have a brick and mortar store, or we do a pop-up somewhere, I want to be there. I want to talk to them. I want to shake their hands. I want to hear their stories.
Absolutely.
I want to hear how they have been able to plant a seed with somebody else because of something they purchased from us. The way that we build a relationship with them is through fit and fabric and silhouette.
Ooh, I love it.
The way we build a relationship with them to get them to see what we're about and who God is about is through that. I want our customers to feel like they know us. I think I want our customers to be people. I want to be people to them, and I want them to be people to us. And it doesn't matter if we have, we thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. I want to be in that position where they feel like they know us. And I think that's the biggest thing, because the clothes will sell themselves.